Hi guys, I worked so hard on today's. This is either going to be fantastic or it's going to be a convoluted mess. I was up here way late last night writing it. I have a lot of pages we're going to reference, but I'll be honest with you, when I pulled out my notes, I was either just going to read it to you or it was going to be boring, and I wanted to flow a little better. I do not, in all sincerity, know if this is going to be one message or if we're going to take cut breaks when it feels right and come back a few weeks all at once. But I want to focus, and I don't want to sound in any way degrade or whatever, but I want to focus on selling to women. And I want to focus on selling to women for a couple reasons. Partially, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to back up. One of my favorite things, all of y'all figured this out. Somewhere in your youth, you had this great revelation, thought you're brilliant, thought you were deep, probably had a conversation with some friend of yours over a beer about, oh yeah, I get that now. Or maybe you were a little insecure and worried about somebody thinking you're homosexual so you couldn't admit it. Somewhere in your life, you had the realization and basically some level of the statement of women dress to impress women, and men, we don't like to admit it because we don't want to seem gay, dress to impress men. The bizarre thing is, it's not, and when you're saying that, you're also going, wow, this is such a revelation because it's not true. I, as a guy, am dressing to impress women. I'm trying to impress women. It's peacock. You got the feathers out. But you're not, because you're so masculine. Like it or not, you are caught up in masculinity. You are living the zone of masculinity. Women likewise. Some of them will be, especially in a very modern, open, educated society, will say, oh yeah, we do. But the truth is, it's because they see femininity. They see another woman that is beautiful, and they are trying to be so feminine, trying to attract the men through that action, that they want to be that way. And in essence, it takes place. I heard, however, a slightly different version of a quote that I think is very important. It's from Germaine de Stael. S-T-A-E-L. Google her name, you'll find her fascinating, and I promise I didn't pronounce it right. She said, the desire of the man is for the woman, but the desire of the woman is for the desire of the man. That is a great breakdown of roles, because I want to study for a minute masculinity and femininity. Every one of you is a dual person. Every one of you is male and female, has a masculine and has a feminine side. Some of you feed one side more than the other. Some of you by nature and genetic and DNA are a little stronger on one side or another, but it is true. And for the women watching this, it's absolutely true for you as well. You have a feminine side. Men, you are a masculine side. Men, you have a feminine side. This isn't dramatically deep, but it does matter. Think about it. The masculine side, it's desires for the woman. It's the hunger, it's the going for. We'll come into this a little bit deeper later. But end result, the feminine side is more ethereal, more beauty. It is for the desire of the man, for the desire of the masculine following and coming along with. The very differences there. Our problem often comes in getting over caught up in ours. Our problem with our stupid mud brain, I love lizard brain. I'm going to try to remember to use that. I saw it on a TV show the other day. With our lizard brain, don't know where that really comes from, but it's cute, is we think that the opposite side of the coin is attracted to the same thing as our side. We think that the way to get women is to be extremely masculine. Strangely enough, you got to have a little bit of the feminine. So what I want to focus on today in selling with women, and it'll work both ways as well. Ladies, you will get something from this, I hope. You might get more as an indirect thing, but I do believe you will. If I offend anyone, male or female, send me a letter. I could stand to learn from it, but my sincerest apologies. I'm going to try like heck not to. You can laugh at my stupidity at times. Hopefully we will pick something up. I promise we will go other ways in future weeks. All right, here's the reality. You want to sell to men. Learn how to sell to women. Believe it or not, and yes, I'm glancing at my notes because I like this part. Selling to men is best achieved from the feminine side. So learn this and you will find the other easier. Most men, especially in sales, do not get in touch with the feminine side. You need to. I often tease my wife that, my gosh, I'm the woman in the relationship and she's the man. And there is nothing overtly feminine about me and definitely nothing masculine about her. It's just the roles and the way we look at things sometimes. It is a fascinating little reflection, but I won't go down our little path on that end. You need to be able to relate. You need to be able to understand the feminine. Pause for a minute. Think on things which you think of as basically feminine, not sexy. I have to stress that difference. We are not taking feminine sex. We're not talking lust. Feminine, beauty. Don't go down the sex road. It has value, but not here. And it does, but not here. Women will not buy from a sex standpoint. Not unless what they are buying is sex. I want to clarify that a little bit. You want to try to sell sex. You want to be the guy who's, if a woman's buying sex, if she's going to a bar because what she's looking for whatever reason, filling some hole, is a night of physical act, she'll buy it. If a woman is feeling bad about herself, some body issue, some insecurity, whatever, so she goes into a Victoria's Secret or an Abercrombie and Fitch, she'll buy it. But what she's buying is sex. Whether the physical act or just the filling of that gap in need, whole different thing. You will not sell with that. Conversely, as a little side thing, because why I point this out, men will. Not very often. Most men are intelligent, most men are competent, most men think things through, but if a woman is hot enough, if it's voluptuous enough, if it's a, ooh, I might get away with this, the spaceship falls down, kind of nobody'd ever know moment, men can get their blood up so high and their lust up so high that they will buy something else from a sex standpoint. Women will not do that. That is very important, and it's one of the reasons, man, I say hold to the feminine side, because if you're going to be a sales professional, you have to sell from an intellectual standpoint. You have to sell from a higher scale if you're going to be long-term and established, and that scale cannot be overtly masculine. Now then, going back to what I was saying, go high end. Think beauty. Think mother. Think everything that is pure, everything that is higher scale, everything that is magnificent about being feminine. Think about the things you truly love about your wife other than lust. A few I wrote down briefly, and I'm going to grab my notes for this. Nurturing, and I want to read these definitions because they matter. Nurturing, to support and encourage, as during the period of training or development, to bring up, train, educate. Caring, very deep and beautiful feminine trait. Serious attention, solicitude, heed, protection. Gentle, kindly, amiable, moderate, not severe, rough, or violent. Beauty, the quality present in a thing or person that gives intense pleasure, a deep satisfaction to the mind. I'm going to pause there for a moment. I got to read that definition again. I want to think feminine, and if you think pure, you're going to think beauty at some level. You just are. Okay? I want to read this definition of beauty because I think it's fabulous. The quality present in a thing or person that gives intense pleasure or deep satisfaction to the mind. When you work off that, the old saying, beauty is in the beholder, just became true at an unbelievable level, didn't it? It is all relevant. I want to go down this for a minute and discuss why these things matter, how this is a feminine side to sales. Nurturing, to support and encourage is during the period of training or development, to bring up, train, educate. Isn't that one of the goals of sales? Isn't that one of the purposes? And I'm not talking about manipulation here per se. I'm not talking about trying to trick somebody. I'm not talking about going for the hard close. I'm talking about the core of sales. I'm talking about your job is to support your client. You want them to win, guys, unless you are selling garbage. And that happens. And if that's who you are, I've been there. I've done that. I really want to advise you, find something else to sell. If you hate what you sell, if you know deep down what you're selling is unethical, if you know you're cheating people, it's going to eat at you. I'm not saying you can't learn to do it, but it's pure manipulation, pressure, and twisting. And it's not long-term good. You can't long-term. It will eat you up. So go ahead, cut it now, go find something else. But selling something you believe, you want your client to win. Your job is to be on their side. Your job is to bring them up, train them, and educate them. Caring, serious attention, solicitude, heed, protection. You want to care for your client, but listen to the important part of that. Solicitude, heed, protection. Are you paying attention to your client? Heard a quote last week that said, introverts are usually better salespeople than extroverts, in contrast to what most people believe. Now, a lot of you think, oh, that's insane, and we've all tried to get the introvert that stinks at or whatever. Here's the difference. An extrovert doesn't shut up. He's so outgoing, so in love with his own voice, he keeps talking and rambling and going and going and going. An introvert asks a question and is quiet and actually listens. And yes, these are extreme examples, but that's what we're talking about. It's a fascinating little thing. Are you putting the other person first? When you are thinking of a woman, when you are thinking of the beauty, do you think she wants to learn even more about you, oh man? Or do you think she wants to know you care about her? Draw the scenario. I've got the male here and the female here, and he's fascinating, amazing guy. And she is whatever you want her to be. She is femininity, okay? And he is trying to entice her to fall in love with him. Do you think he's going to do that by continuing to talk about himself and impress her? That will matter. I mean, we're talking Prince Jay. He's awesome. You want to know what wins her? It's when this impressive man shows her how interested he is in her. When he listens to her. And I don't mean just, I'm tricking you. Oh, yeah, I'm paying attention. I mean really listens, really connects. I've said this before. The greatest compliment in the world is to let somebody else know how interesting they are. If you listen to me, if you heed me, if you feel me, if I've got this going, that feminine trait of doing so, of caring, solicitude, train, educate, to bring up, guys, how could I not work with you? How could I not trust you? You're a genius because you understand the most important person in the world is actually me, and you get it. Obviously, you're brilliant. I have to trust you. This is a feminine trait. Gentle, kindly, amiable, moderate, not severe, not rough, not violent. Women do not like a scary situation. Women want security. Women want safety. That doesn't mean weakness. That doesn't mean laying in the gutter and just getting ripped off. Absolutely not. But what they don't want is a scary situation. They don't want violence. When you think mother per se, when you think femininity, when you think ethereal beauty, you are not thinking blood and guts. And if you are, it is from a purity standpoint, and that's a whole different book. Read John Eldridge. But if you seem overly rough, if you seem overly violent, if you use violent phrases, if you use violent motions, if you talk in strong terms, it creates a more insecure atmosphere. It does not fit. It is not a feminine trait. And you need to have a more feminine trait. And believe it or not, if you're paying attention, all this works with men as well, guys. It just does. It matters. Sell from your feminine side. Jumping off track for a minute. Get in touch with your feminine side. Sell from that. Let that dominate you. The feminine side listens. The feminine side thinks. The feminine side cares. The feminine side loves. The feminine side nurtures. The feminine side serves. That is what a great salesperson is all those things. The feminine side does not dominate, conquer, and crush its competition. That is the masculine side. I'm not knocking that. It's fun. I'm with you. But it's not sales as cleanly as the other is. Beauty, we covered. The quality present in a thing or person that gives intense pleasure and deep satisfaction to the mind. What are you putting forth? Is it giving satisfaction and pleasure to your client's mind? Have you found what they're interested in? Have you found what matters to them? What are we going forward with? Shift in notes. A woman sees and feels and cares. The masculine seeks to dominate, to conquer, to protect via strength. I love the masculine, but think for a minute. Let's say you buy some gum, something as simple as gum. You're at a 7-Eleven, you're going in, and you walk up to the cashier. Which do you prefer? A big, purely manly, strong, masculine presence who's looking for the threat, or a kindly, polite, gentle, feminine woman to take your money and pay you a compliment? See things from that point of view and go accordingly. I read a great article in Forbes last week. Carrie Lucas was the writer. Forbes, January 2013. Want to give credit where it goes. It was about why Republicans can't win women's votes. Flows exactly with what we just talked about, but this is long enough. Here's the end of week 1. I promise week 2 is even better. I hope you get something from it. Please, again, send your comments, and I'll clean it up and even make it better. But thanks for watching. See you next week.